Good afternoon. I am Scott Forcino, an associate broker from Real Brokerage LLC, metro area, New York City, and I founded PlugIntro to assist real estate professionals, meet who they should know, and provide a platform for others to do the same. I have with me today Monica Burgos, who is with Contour Mortgage out of New York City as well, and she can let us know what's going on in the mortgage market, trends, and underwriting issues, and how well she works with agents to assist them get in front of people that can hire or refer them. Thank you, Monica. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me, Scott. So yes,
So what's happening in this? What's happening in this mortgage market now?
so we saw rates decrease a bit about a month ago. Now they started to increase a little bit more. The good news is yesterday, FHA announced that their mortgage insurance premium will be decreasing down to 0.55% as opposed to
Great,
0.85%. So that helps because we
great,
have 30 basis points lower. Even though rates went up, at least that helps us level out um, in order to get the pre-approvals going. And one thing that I've been doing to help real estate agents get more people into homes is helping them negotiate a rate buy down with their um, sellers in order to
how's
get
that work?
people. So let's say, for example, you have a buyer who qualifies for a $500,000 purchase price, but you have a seller who wants to get 550,000 for their home. If the seller contributes funds towards buying down the rate, the bank will allow us to buy the rate down more than what the borrower can buy down. So, for example, the maximum amount of points that we can charge a borrower when they're buying down a rate
Right,
is 3%. We cannot charge more than 3% for rate buy down on a borrower. So, if the seller contributes funds for rate buy down, we can go all the way up to 6%. Now, that doesn't mean that the seller necessarily has to contribute 3%. They can contribute 1%, 2%, but they can go up to 3%. So then that increases the borrower's purchasing power. So now instead of them qualifying for 500,000, they might qualify for 550 or more, depending on property taxes, if it's a multi-unit, if there's any rental income. So all of those factors play a part in how the person qualifies. But offering a rate buy down will, I believe that that's the newest trend now in the market, and that offers buyers an incentive to buy the property because now we have someone who, instead of having to pay a 6.5% interest rate, for example, they can pay maybe 5.5%.
well, I have a question. So
I,
you were saying that you in the FHA, a buyer can pay 3%, but a seller on their behalf can pay 6%.
no. So what happens is banks are not allowed to charge more than 3% in points for a
Right,
borrower to buy down a rate. But if the seller makes a contribution of 3% from their end, now the rate can go down. It can be bought down with 6% as opposed to 3%. So we can
right.
give them a lower, much lower interest rate.
I see. I see. Oh, that's great. I mean, how has been your experience? I mean, how do you work that into a transaction? Are you teaching the agents? Are you reaching the buyers on your own? How are you handling that?
Yes. So usually everything that has to do with mortgages is all about educating your borrowers, educating agents, educating everyone in the process. So what I do is I explain it to the buyer's agent and the listing agent, and I also add it in the pre-approval letter. I will add a part that says credit towards rate buy down, and I'll put the amount that the borrower is asking for.
I see. Now, I mean, are we talking about the temporary nature? I mean, of paying less of a monthly payment on for 12, 24, 36 months? I mean, is that what we're talking about? And then how does it become the normal underwritten payment?
No, this is a permanent buy down. So usually when people apply for a mortgage loan, the interest rate is based, of course, on the person's credit. So everybody gets a different rate based on their credit. It's based on credit worthiness. So let's say the person's rate is supposed to be 7% based on their credit without points. You can get a rate at par without paying any points, or you can buy down the rate by paying points. So let's say at 7%, they pay 0 points. Then let's say they pay 1% to buy down the rate, they might be able to get a 6.5% rate, let's say, for example. These are
Right.
just examples I'm giving. Please do not take me literal on this because everyone gets different rates based on their credit worthiness. So then let's say they pay
Of
2 points
course.
and they can buy down the rate to 6%. And let's say if they pay 3 points, they can buy down the rate to 5.5%, let's say, or 5.75%. If the seller contributes another 3 points, they may be able to buy the rate down even more. Now, what the amounts is, it depends on each client. I would have to put the application in the system. So I'll give you an example. I had a real estate agent that called me 2 nights ago. It was like 8 p.m. We were on the
Hmm.
computer working to
Yep.
see because I had given her buyer a pre-approval for 500,000, and she told me, Monica, we found a house that they really want to get into, but they're asking for 549. Can you check to see if there's any way that we can lower their interest rate more with a rate buy down? She told me that the listing agent told her the sellers were willing to give a rate buy down in order to get the house sold quickly because something was going on with the sellers and they needed to move fast. They needed to sell the house fast. So when I did calculations, I was able to bring their rate down to 5.5%. It's a conventional loan. If you look at today's markets, the rates are closer to 7%. But if they paid 6 points in total, I could get that family into that home with a 5.5% interest rate.
Well, that's a big deal.
Yes. So
It's a really
that's
big deal.
the power of the seller contribution towards rate buy down.
Let me
So
ask you
if
this:
you
what do you
have,
think about? I mean, as
mhm,
far as I know, that realtors are, of course, are a big part of your referral base,
yes,
based on your good reputation and the way you serve people in transactions. What do you think about the opportunity? And maybe we shouldn't tell your competition this, that there exists an opportunity for you to team up with sellers and listing agents so that their property is more attractive and the listing agent can provide more value, which really makes it so that a buyer doesn't have to ask for this type of treatment, that they automatically get it. I mean, a seller can control the rate. And I love going kind of against the grain, but
hmm,
sellers control the buyer's rate because they at any point can pay towards. And I mean, that's an issue that's completely missed, right?
yes,
Think about it. Sellers control buyers' interest. So I
yes,
mean,
because they drag
why
the
don't they do
market
more of that?
depending on the listing prices. So if you add into your listing, the fact that the seller is willing to help with a concession with for rate buy down, I think that will make the listing more attractive because now a buyer is going to be
Right. I
looking.
mean,
Mhm.
do you know of agents, or have you? I'm sorry. Have you know of lenders or agents that have collaborated to form a tighter bond?
Yes,
Because I guess.
I I
Hmm,
have had many transactions that I have done with buyers agents and listing agents that have been able to we've been able to close deals with the rate buy down, and we've been able to explain it to everyone, and they've agreed, and we've been successful. I started doing that last year when the
and but
rates
that's in the.
started increasing.
But isn't that in the context of a buyer proposing it and the seller accepting that?
Well, the buyer's agent can propose it, and and then the listing agent has to educate the seller on it. But I have seen now recently listings that show that the seller is contributing towards the rate buy down. So
I
more
understand
people
that.
are
That
now
to me
aware.
makes sense. Okay, so even with that, that's a great idea. I give credit to the listing agents who are working hard for their clients to be more attractive and make the deal easier to close. But are you hearing about, or do you think it's a great approach to have mortgage professionals like yourself alert realtors that this is a great approach? And maybe they don't all know it. Maybe they're not doing it.
Ye-
But I mean, it's an
Yes,
opportunity for you to be even more valuable to your agents.
yes, I
I
had
think
to
that's an
communicate
opportunity.
this. Yes, I had to communicate this more to the real estate agents that I work with, and reach out to new agents and let them know that we offer this service, that I offer this service to their buyers and sellers because it makes the listing stand out against the competition. Because if you're looking at five different properties and they all look, similar, and the prices are similar, but one property is giving you a chance to pay a lower mortgage payment, you might lean more as a buyer towards purchasing a property where you will be saving money.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think that it's much smarter to come from the seller providing the property at a more affordable interest rate than which you can control than having each individual buyer asking each individual seller if that's okay, because then you're competing against the others who are not asking for money, right? I mean, isn't that different? Yeah, uh, I'd rather have a situation where the seller wants their house to be more marketable versus the buyer asking something that maybe no one's aware of. I mean, from your perspective as a mortgage professional, I don't think you want to hope that the realtors, two of them, explain it the way you would versus you getting them in before there's any pressure at all.
Yes, that is true because if they understand before they see the pre-approval what the rate buy down means and how it will enable the buyer to have more purchasing power as opposed to them thinking that they just want to take money from the seller, that would make a big difference. Because let's face it, if you have someone like the example I gave before who qualifies for 500, but we can bump them up to 540 by the seller contributing, let's say 1 or 2%. So now instead of them getting 500,000 for their home, they're getting 540. Okay, maybe they contributed 5 or 10,000, but they're gonna get between $30,000 and $35,000 more for their home because now this person is more qualified to buy. And it's not just, that buyer, but most people in the United States, inflation has gone up, but their salaries have not gone up at the same pace as inflation has gone up, or the interest rates have gone up. So you have a lot of people who last year, when the rates were in the twos and the threes, they would probably qualify for a $600,000 purchase. Now they can barely qualify for a $450,000 purchase,
That's
or
crazy.
maybe even 500,000. Yes. So this is one of the reasons why many homeowners are now asking for less, when they're putting their homes on the market.
Yeah, that's going to change things a lot. So, and that makes
But
sellers unhappy because they still were imagining it's 2021 values. So it's going to have to be, to me, it's going to have to be a great reason that a seller would pick a realtor, because they could be seen as all the same unless you offer some kind of program or strategy such as this.
yes.
Hmm.
And another thing that I try to do for my clients in order to get them a better advantage when they're competing in the market is a secure buy. It's a program that we have where we get the borrower a commitment without having to go into contract. So we will submit the application to the underwriter. The underwriter will review all the documents, will do verification of employments, will review, all of the criteria, and issue a commitment with a TBD address to be determined in
That's
order
great.
in order to show the seller this borrower was already, their application was already underwritten. So there's no doubt that they can get this loan. So then once they go into contract, all we have to do is clear the conditions, and we'll be able to clear the file faster and get them to the closing table.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, so
Um,
I mentioned that because, if you show a listing agent or a seller a pre-approval that says that the person is interested in a rate buy down and they don't understand how it works, if you show them the commitment, the conditional commitment from the underwriter at the same time, then they know, okay, even though this person is asking for a rate buy down and I don't understand what it is, not only am I getting more money for my home, but I'm also getting sort of a guarantee that this loan will close because it's already been underwritten by a person, a live person in the bank.
yeah. I mean, look, these are great opportunities. I mean, I think there's two parts of this business, where you have to know what you're doing, but you can't be the smartest guy in the room. You have to actually have some way to have people work with you, and it has to work for them as well.
Yes. So I will be happy to assist buyers agents and listing agents with the process, and explain to them how it works, because educating people is the best way to increase your exposure and your sales.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, if you know better, you can do better. But keep in mind, the point of the PlugIntro platform is to give you a voice, but have your real estate colleagues and referral partners have their own voice. I don't think that
Yes.
realtors.
I would like
I,
for the real estate partners that I work with to join our platform and to also have their own PlugIntro groups.
yeah, I
So
mean, let's say it
hopefully
this
when
way.
we contact them, they will respond and and join.
Well, I mean, you're giving them something that no one else is. You're giving them a
Free
chance to promote their
marketing.
business. Yeah, they're gaining
Yes.
local exposure, and they're giving the members of their community a chance to promote their business, which, is not done. I mean, in your vast experience, have you seen realtors really shining the light on others and giving them a chance to demonstrate their ability and their what they offer? No, I mean, so
Listen,
to
there's
me, it's an
nothing else
ABC.
like this out there, like PlugIntro. And I was looking before I met you. I was looking to see how I could get the exposure and get, a marketing company to assist me. And I thank God that I met you, because I would have never had the exposure that I have now if it wasn't for PlugIntro.
Thanks a lot. I mean, I created something where I believe it's going to be beneficial for others. I mean, we're talking about having agents contribute to their communities, where the local business owners and the industry colleagues, such as home inspectors and insurance folks, have an opportunity to gain. And, I got a little bit sick of watching broadcasts where everyone talks about themselves and there really is nothing to gain for the audience. In this case, if you ask anyone to learn more about what you're offering, we're also giving them the chance to promote themselves. And, come on. I mean, if we collaborate, we can really, really prosper. I think that with the harder market, everyone has to be working together from both sides of the transaction. They have to be.
I'm going to call all of the agents that I work with and ask them to join, with the PlugIntro platform. Most of them are in my group, but it would be really nice if they had their own groups as well.
Well, that's what they need, because they want to be exclusive, just like you want to be the exclusive provider of as a lender. And with these folks, that's why you're inviting them, and no one else is. And they want to be seen as the only realtor in their community. And this is a way to get automatic exposure and to give back. And that's really what's important. I mean, there's also the thing of top of mind awareness, where sometimes the client doesn't need much more than the top of mind awareness. They just really need to be reminded that you're out there and you're
Yes.
able to help. People forget. It's a short memory.
Yes, it's true. If people don't see you, they will forget that you exist. And
Right.
I have
Right. And even though
that's one of the reasons why I thank God for you and for PlugIntro, because there were some real estate agents that I had done business with in the past. And I believe that once they saw the videos, I had not heard from them in a long time. They started calling me again because the videos are in social media and because of the group. And, so people remembered, oh, wait a minute, Monica does mortgages. Let me call her.
sure. I mean, it besides selfishly gaining some exposure, you have to think your competition is not doing this. I mean, to me, there's several layers of competition. Lenders are not giving this to agents. Agents are not giving this to their community, and the members in the community are really not giving this to the business owners in the community. I mean, it's simple. We have a platform, and I really urge the lenders you work with to take you up on your offer and give them a chance to gain exposure. If there's many fewer properties on the MLS, and if you're not giving someone else in your community a chance to gain, what are you doing? You're just telling them about yourself?
No, so by giving them the opportunity to showcase their business and what they do, we are helping them gain more listings, gain more sales, gain more clients, gain more exposure. So this is about helping others.
And that's the business community. What about the fact that there's an entire public where I'm sure you want to help the buyer get in a house and beat their competition. I'm sure you want to help the seller get the most for their property. I mean, it really comes down to who you serve. I mean, there are a lot of disappointed people these days. And if I've done this as a broker, if you can make the property look more attractive and really stand out and give the person a lower rate, as it is, the jump was so high from the rates in 2021, 2022 to now. So, I mean, are we going to do nothing? Got to do something. And it shouldn't come from buyers asking for this type of help. It should come from the seller. It should come from the listing agent who realized that there's a much better way to go.
Yes, definitely. That would increase the exposure also of the listing, because people, it would stand out against the competition.
Exactly.
People
Well,
would
we're
see that
doing
they're
it.
offering something that nobody else is offering.
Right. And there's, as you know, the debt to income ratio is such a enormous part of this, of what people can afford. And really it affects their lifestyle. So if they can save themselves a few $100s a month, that means they can make the house maybe the way they want, or they can do something fun with the family. There's a lot that can be done.
Yes, and the debt to income ratio can make or break the deal,
Sure.
because if it's too high that you can't get the person into the house. That reminds me, I was speaking to someone in my team today about a deal that she's working on, and one of the borrowers, she paid her credit card late, and her credit score went from the mid 600s to the 500s.
Oh
So
boy.
now I'm sorry.
Oh boy.
Yes. So now she's at 585. So now the debt to income ratio for an FHA for someone below 600 goes down from 47 over 57 to 40 over 50. The front number is the house payment. So now she went down from a $350,000 purchase price to a $300,000 purchase price. So the real estate agent told me that's going to be, virtually impossible to find a home at that price.
Oh, in that area, forget that area.
Yeah, so they're looking in Connecticut, but I just thought about, as I'm speaking with you, with the rate buy down, she may be able to, with a rate buy down, she may be able to go back up to the, closer to 350.
Yeah, I think they need the most aggressive rate buy down they can get.
Yes, because then it can increase the purchase price more. So I have to go back and look at that transaction.
And that's why I think it really, I'll say it one more time, I think it really has to come from the seller side so that it's an understood agreement from the beginning versus looking for a contribution. Think about it. Asking for a contribution is asking the seller for some of their profit. And that's a bad place to be when others are not asking for some part of their profit. They're asking for seller for a contribution. The sellers may say, "Are you kidding me?" No. They may still have the wrong information that we're in this market, and maybe none of their friends ever paid a dime. Maybe they won't let go of the belief that they deserve everything. So I tell you what, there's a lot here that really needs to be addressed, and that's where relationships come in, where you're a solution to one of their problems.
Yes, I just hope that when people watch this video, they see what we're doing here at PlugIntro. They see that we're trying to help educate everyone and get them the exposure that they need and help them get more sales and more listings.
Wow, interesting. All right, well, I appreciate your input, and I'll work with you to get some agents in a seminar so they could see what you do, how you do it, make them more comfortable in assisting clients, and deepen
Thank
and
you.
further relationship between you both.
That would be wonderful.
Wow. Okay. Well, you take care. What's the best way to reach you, Monica?
On my cell phone at 646-571-7058.